welcome to Sunday morning coffee with Keto Simple. My name is Dustin. I'm so glad you're here. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats if there's anything that you want to see highlighted. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. My name is Dustin. This is Keto Simple. This is my Sunday morning coffee. I have my coffee. How about you? Let me know what's going on with you. And today we're going to be talking about the children. Because there was a time, not too long ago, when type 2 diabetes was called adult onset diabetes. That language doesn't even exist anymore because we can't use it anymore. And why? I mean, we're seeing children and teenagers diagnosed with metabolic diseases at a rate that should make every one of us pause, but we don't. Childhood obesity rates have more than tripled in the last few decades. Teens prescribed GLP-1 medications. Adolescents are undergoing bariatric surgery. And perhaps most concerning, it's all being normalized. It's just the way it goes. We're blaming genetics. We're not blaming the food. We might be blaming the parents. But what happens when an entire generation grows up believing that fatigue is normal, that anxiety is just part of life, that brain fog, acne, mood swings, weight gain, blood sugar crashes are just teenage things? Most adults don't even connect how they feel with what they eat. So how do we expect a 14-year-old to do that? The youth aren't failing. They're inheriting a food environment engineered for hyperpalatability, convenience, and profit. Ultra-processed foods dominate schools, gas stations, sporting events, and even hospital cafeterias. And if we don't intervene, not with fear, not with shame, but with education and leading by example, are we going to see a generation dealing with metabolic disease earlier and more aggressively than ever before? This conversation isn't about blame. It's about responsibility, and it starts with us. And what do the numbers look like? What does it actually look like? Child obesity rates have risen dramatically over the last 30 years. We know that. Type 2 diabetes in youth is increasing. We know that. GLP-1 medications are now FDA approved for adolescents, which is ridiculous. Bariatric surgery in teens has increased in recent years. Ultra-processed foods make up a large percentage of calories consumed by children and adolescents. Rising diagnosis of fatty liver disease in children. The anecdote to that would be, I said it right the first time, the fact that fatty liver disease was considered alcoholic fatty liver disease. And for a very, very long time, if you had fatty liver, the doctors wouldn't hear that you didn't drink. They would say, that's insane. You have to drink. That's alcoholic fatty liver disease is why it's called alcoholic fatty liver disease. And you didn't drink and you show up at the doctor with fatty liver disease and you try to tell the doctor, I really don't drink. I don't have a drinking problem. They wouldn't believe you. They would not believe you. Unfortunately, where the tide began to turn, was when it showed up in children. Children were getting alcoholic fatty liver disease, so they had to rename it to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease when it comes to children. They started realizing, oh, that sugar and carbohydrates can cause fatty liver disease. And we're seeing an increase in mental health struggles correlated with metabolic dysfunction. The thing that never gets talked about in anything is how can your brain health be good? How could you have good brain health if your body is falling apart? Your brain is part of your body. It's all connected. It's all one giant, just living organism. But we never even think about it. And it's something that I don't think even in this community we talk about very much. We're oftentimes more concerned with arguing about what's true carnivore or, whatever. We're arguing about which is better for the majority of us. Keto, carnivore. We're arguing amongst ourselves instead of doing what we need to do to help the kids, right? There's a lot to do out here. But how do we expect teenagers who don't realize what's going on to even begin to look in the direction of channels like this one or other Dr. Barry? How do we get our kids to even pay attention? Because kids, they're invincible. Teenagers are invincible. They think that they are invincible. They can throw whatever they want into their bodies and be fine. I felt that way until my 30s. Even if I was in like the 400-pound range, I knew I was obese. I knew that I wasn't healthy, but I continued to eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, however I wanted for decades. I became obese towards late elementary school, early middle school, and it just got worse. I mean, realistically, everywhere kids go, there's hyper palatable, ultra processed foods. There's no real food anywhere unless you're picking apart a burger and eating just the burger patty. I mean, schools, impossible to find healthy food. Maybe if there's hot dog day or hamburger day, you can eat just the hamburger patty, but it's not something that is intuitive to kids. They have vending machines. Nothing in a vending machine is good for a kid. There's soda machines. Maybe diet soda. I drink diet soda. Should I? No, but am I going to do it? Probably. I mean, kids are on the go. Kids are running. They get, what do they get? 20 minutes, maybe 20, 30 tops for lunch each day. And they got to run through and grab whatever they have at school, whether it's pizza, chicken sandwiches, bag of chips, some kind of sugary beverage, whatever. We don't set our kids up for success. We have legitimately set our kids up for failure at every single turn. And we don't even realize it. And I can sit here and point out all the problems, but I don't have any significant answers. I don't have any real answers. Clean out the vending machines, clean out the soda machines. But then what? But replace them with what? How many kids don't have somebody at home making them dinner? How many kids at home don't have a parent who has time to cook? How many parents struggle just to be there enough for their kids to make sure that they get their homework done, make sure they got home from school? How do we fix this epidemic of a problem? I have no idea. Rick is saying, just don't feed them duck food, but that's easier said than done. if you are a family and you have the time, the wherewithal, even the knowledge, it's still a struggle to feed kids good, healthy, nutritious food every single day. That's just the reality of it. And it's easy for, a lot of people to sit up on high and say, well, that's not that hard. But you have to understand that everybody's situation is different. And we look at, what's in a convenience store? Where do kids go by themselves? Kids, when they first get their first car, they're at the gas station. They have fast food. They have convenience stores. They don't go grocery shopping. We have literally, I don't know any other better way to say it, but we have set our kids up for failure. And Sharon says, but parents are clean plate clubs. Yeah, my mom was eat all the food because we grew up poor as shit. So we ate everything on our plates. I mean, I've said this a million times. We grew up on the boxed Chef Boyardee pizza. We grew up with the frozen Swanson dinners, the frozen, the Encore dinners. Like the one thing of lasagna. It was like $3. They don't even make that one anymore. Lasagna, frozen lasagna at Walmart is like $15 now. The Encore, you can still get the turkey slices and gravy. You can still get the Salisbury steak. You can get the I think you can still get the the chicken with the cheese and the sauce. That's what we ate when I was a kid. Bowls of cereal for breakfast. We never had eggs for breakfast. We had what we had. And I know that that's exactly what's going on now. You can't turn on a TV that has commercials and see a breakfast cereal. And what do they show with the breakfast cereal? They have a bowl of cereal with toast, orange juice, milk, part of this complete breakfast. I remember my mom would get us donut sticks or whatever they were called. They were like a coffee companion. It's crazy. It's so crazy. But let's jump into some of these comments before we get too crazy backed up, because I'm sure that we are crazy backed up already this morning. Sandy was here 2 hours ago. Sandy, 2 hours. Been awake since 3:30. Let's go. Oh, my goodness gracious. Ava Lynn was here 41 minutes ago. 41 minutes ago. She's here early bird. She's trying to catch the worm. That's something that I don't even... Rick, do you even eat worms? But thank you for being here. Evil Lynn and Sandy and Mr. Rick is here. Look at this.
Rick. Let's get dangerous.
There we go. Brian Dish is in the house. Good morning, Brian. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you very much. Cindy DeManchi, good morning. I got to take my first sip of coffee. I've been waiting for my first sip of coffee. Oh, yeah. Don't you just love coffee, Cindy? Coffee is delicious. Right, Cindy? Right, Cindy? Oh, my goodness. Cindy's saying hello to everyone, including Mr. Sean Bradley. Good morning, Sean. Very glad to see you, my friend. Jeffifa, good morning, Jeffifa. So very glad to see you, my friend. And Mr. Gugahan, welcome, Mr. Gugahan. So very glad to see you, my friend. And Mr. Brian Doyle is here. Good morning, Mr. Doyle. How are you? So glad to see you. Good morning. Booby Goats is in the house. Good morning, Aaron. How are you? I did not get a chance to see the carnivore burger extravaganza that you guys were having with Jerry yesterday. I would have loved to have joined that, but it was like, you got to do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, I don't have time. I was so busy yesterday. I went to the dump twice. Shannon forgot her lunch, so to drive that all the way down to the south side and give her lunch. Had to go to the grocery store. I haven't been all week. Just been trying to not go to the grocery store because I can't go in the grocery store and not cost me $100. It's crazy. It's $150 yesterday. And I don't know, this Tuesday coming up, our morning live on Tuesday will probably be postponed or delayed, either later in the afternoon, or we may move it. We may do it on Wednesday. We have a funeral to go to for a family friend who passed away. They lived a very long life, but they have passed, and so we're going to go pay our respects. That's around 11. So around the time we would be live on Tuesday, we would be doing that. So we will probably either do it later on Tuesday or on Wednesday. So kind of keep an eye out for that. Just want to give you guys a heads up. Rick says he loves to go to the dump, but this is a dump where you dump and you don't get to pick through the dump. There's no picking. You just dump. I had to go twice. So the problem with us in our house is we used to have a company that would pick up 5 trash cans. And then, if we needed 5 trash cans, we'd put out 5 trash cans. I don't know why we have so much trash, but we do. We just have so much trash. And now they were bought out by another company. They give us a trash can. Now that single trash can probably holds as much as 2 of the trash cans we would put out before. But still, this place, they won't take anything if it's outside of the trash can because it does a little arm, picks it up and dumps it, right? So they don't do anything outside of that. And there's 8 people living in our house, so we generate a lot of trash. Now we've got diapers out the wazoo. We got a little baby, a little poop machine that lives in our house. She's adorable, but she's a little cutie patootie poop machine. And with her little hiccups. She's got hiccups all the time. But I can tell you about her. Just can't show her any photos. Mommy and Daddy aren't a fan of that, but we can talk about the little cutie patootie that I love so much. I was holding her last night. She had hiccups, and she kept trying to hit me in the face with her fist. But she's not even 2 months old yet. She'll be 2 months old in a couple of days. I'm excited. Time flies. She'll be walking and talking and going to college before I even know it. But yeah, it just seems like we just have too much trash. It's ridiculous. Too much trash. So then the wintertime, like we've been putting it in the garage, and then the cat gets into it. So then when we go to take it, we got to put it in new bags because the cat's ripped open all the bags. It's just a nightmare. It's gross. Gross. But anyway, let's see. Aaron says, "Good morning. My Chromebook won't turn on, and it changed different chargers for it and everything, and it doesn't seem to be charged. I even try to hard reset. Nothing's working. Kids didn't touch this one. Ugh, I'm terrified because I bought my laptop in 2022. And with everything going on currently, there is a huge chip shortage on RAM chips. Are all going towards these data centers they're building for AI and all of that stuff. And so Macs used to be considered ridiculously expensive for the upgrade. So if you would, like a base model Mac would come with 16 gigs of RAM and 200 and like maybe half a terabyte of hard drive space. And if you wanted to upgrade to more RAM, it was like up from 16 to 24 was like $200. If you wanted to go to 32, it was like $400. And now that seems like a bargain. So hopefully this laptop lasts me until that chip shortage kind of goes away, because I got this laptop in 2022. It's got 32 gigs of DDR5. But, I'm going to make sure this computer is the lifeblood of this operation. So hopefully things are doing what I needed to do. But anyway, Sandy Blythe is here. Good morning from Florida. Sandy says, oh no. Oh, hell no. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, type 1 used to be called juvenile diabetes. It was just something that happens to the pancreas. Something just happens to the pancreas and stops producing insulin. Pretty crazy. And there we got Sharon H is in the house. Hello, Sharon. How are you? Welcome, Sharon Holloway. And Brian says, good morning, Aaron. Champa, the Heart Attack Burger Challenge. That's what it was. Speaking of heart attack burgers or heart attack chicken, do you know who has resurfaced after a very long time? We have received new videos from Butter Bob Briggs. He is back again. He dropped like a 10-minute video the other day explaining where he's been, what's going on, why he stopped making videos. He stopped making videos because he thought he had said everything that he needed to say. Now, that's kind of one of the things he talks about, all the wonderful message he's gotten over the years, all the comments he's had over the years, and then some stuff with kids and all the stuff. And I'm like, we can't, there's all the things that have, there's no reason to stop making content. I will continue to talk about the same stuff over and over and over again, video after video, live after live. I'll hopefully space it out so it's not incredibly boring for you guys. But until we have this fixed, there's enough content out there for us to put out videos every single day, hopefully trying to make a difference. And that's the reason kind of why I decided to talk about what I'm talking about today with the youth. How do we fix things for our kids? You know, when we can't, you know, can you not ever should you never feed your kids pizza? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that we don't feed our kids normal kid food sometimes. That they go to birthday parties, get some cake and ice cream. Because I don't feel that stuff is inherently bad in of itself. And I know I might be in the minority there. You know, Rick's going to call it duck food and whatever. But I don't think that that's necessarily something that we should punish our children and never give them that stuff. Should they eat it every day? Absolutely not. Should they do weekly? Absolutely not. But should they have it sometimes? Sure. Just like I don't think if you're metabolically healthy that it shouldn't bother you if you want to eat those things. I think the problem has never been that we had pizza every once in a while, or we had tacos every once in a while, or whatever. We had cake on our birthday. That's not what got us where we are. It's the fact that we have cake and ice cream and milkshakes every single day, multiple times a day. And Charger's always going to say, well, if you have steak, why would you settle for pizza? Because pizza for the average person is flippin' delicious, Rick. You are one of the few people in this world who doesn't like pizza. Maybe I'm sure there's a lot of people on the planet who've never tried pizza. There's undocumented tribes and all that stuff, or uncontacted tribes out there. There's people like who've never had pizza before. I imagine there's people like in rural China who've never had pizza. They may or may not like it. But the idea that, yes, is steak delicious? Absolutely. Steak is delicious. But two things can be true at the same time. Steak can be delicious and pizza could be delicious. That's the thing, is there's room for things to be good even if they aren't good for you. I mean, because if those things were not delicious, if people did not love pizza and cookies and candies and cakes and all the things that we shouldn't probably eat all the time, we wouldn't eat them all the time. Yeah, is steak more filling than pizza? Steak is filling, sure. Pizza leaves you hungry for more, sure. That doesn't make it not delicious. Multiple things can be true at the same time. And I'm not here to argue that, but I'm just saying the fact that, kids go to birthday parties. Like our kids got a birthday party coming up this next week. We've got Grand Friends Day at school this week, and there's going to be cookies and stuff there. Are these things that we should withhold from our children? Are those the detrimental things that we should be worried about? Or is it the day-to-day everything that they run into? How do we win this battle? How do we fix the majority of the issue? I don't know. And Rick's saying things that are true. Beef, lamb, chicken, duck, fish, iguana, all tasty and very good for you. Absolutely. 100%. And never am I going to say that those things aren't delicious. I mean, I've never had iguana, but I'm assured that it's probably delicious. But that doesn't negate that other things can be good too. And I think we have to be realistic. If we are going to try and help as many people as we can, we have to be realistic. And what does realistic look like when we are trying to help millions and millions and millions of people? Arguing the fact that steak tastes better than pizza. It's not a matter of taste. It's not a matter of taste. How do we get people to make better choices on a consistent level? How do we get people to even understand that they're already making the wrong choices on a consistent level? I bring these things up and we start arguing the fact that pizza doesn't taste good or steak tastes better than pizza. Yeah, that's not the argument here. The argument here is, how do we get millions and millions of people to shift their dietary habits? How do we do that? We can't go in sounding insane because people won't listen to us. We got to go in and we got to go in and meet them where they are. It's going to be a slow, arduous process. Just like the reverse. The decrease in meat consumption over time has been slow. It's been steady, but it's been slow. How do we correct that? How do we correct that? How do we, as a community, step up and start leading by example in a meaningful way that people will actually listen to? Because you can go out of guns a-blazing and say only eat steak and never drink soda again, and then people aren't going to listen to you. You're going to lose them. They're just going to be like and walk away, like a bad timeshare presentation. They're just going to walk away. They're not going to listen. How do we get them to listen? Yeah, Aaron says it starts at home. Yes, but how do we get the parents to understand what to put in the home? How do we get there? How do we get there? Because it starts at home. That's a great saying. That's true. It does start at home. But how do we get home to be a good place to start? Because if home is filled with the same things as convenience stores and vending machines, then home doesn't mean anything. How do we get parents to understand they need to make a shift? The last few decades, the only thing people have been worried about is gluten. Gluten and cholesterol and meat. That's all they've cared about. So they've cut out gluten, they've cut out cholesterol, and they've slowly but surely reduced the amount of meat that they've eaten. There's no magic switch to flip that switch. There's no magic switch. You can change the guidelines all you want. You can up the meat consumption on a guideline board. That's not going to fix the average perception that people have. I mean, it's just not going to make a difference. We have to slowly but surely be out there showing what it's like. But we have to do so with tact. We have to do so with compassion. We have to do so and not sound crazy. That's again where we talk about single ingredient, whole foods, trying to keep carbs low. It's all a matter of, it's why language and the words we choose are so very important. Everybody's still saying hello to each other. Aaron's on a vibration plate. We talked about how not to feed our kids duck food, but if parents don't even know what the difference is, how do we fix it? And we've got places like Steak and Shake coming out of the woodwork saying, we're going to get rid of microwaves. Okay. They're still deep frying French fries, and they're deep frying chicken strips, and they're deep frying tortillas to make shells for salads. But they're getting rid of the microwave. Okay. Have they switched to beef tallow? Sure, but they're frying stuff in beef tallow we shouldn't be eating in the first place. If they were saying, we are going to focus on the best quality beef that we can provide, and we're going to give it to you at a price that makes sense. But they're not saying that. They're saying, we're going to get rid of the microwave. Again, they sound crazy because they're doing whatever they can do to sound like they're doing something without actually ever doing anything. Brian says, Aaron, did you get your 10,000 steps after the challenge? And I think she said something that her step counter, she lost her step counter, but did go on a walk. That's fantastic. Well, we know if you had a kid, there would be no duck food at home. Maybe. I think once you have kids, that all changes. Aaron says, I probably shouldn't have let my 2018 Chromebook just die completely. It's been sitting on a charger for 24 hours and nothing. Oh, my goodness. Is there anything on it? Is if you Google things and say, what happens if you're, I don't know. I mean, it's probably cheaper just to replace it than it is to put a new battery in it. If you could even put a new battery in it. So I remember laptops years ago had a little thing, you just pop it out and the battery would come out. Now they're all hardwired in. Like my computer, I can't even upgrade the RAM. The RAM is soldered in place. The only thing I can do is add in a hard drive. One extra hard drive. And again, we talked about this. Sharon says, growing up, my parents were the clean plate club instructors. When I had my son, he was allowed to eat his meal and stop when he wanted. Now, the one thing about kids, though, is kids, you still have to kind of get them to eat, because a lot of times kids just do not want to eat, regardless of how hungry they may be, because they just don't care to eat. And so you still have to be like, we have that problem with our granddaughter, the 7-year-old. She just would rather do anything than eat, unless it's candy or cookies or something like that. She loves that. But you make her something. She likes good food. Sure. She likes eggs and bacon and stuff. But food does not really concern her unless she's absolutely starving, unless she's being a complete jerk face because she's so hungry. But she would still rather color and play with stickers and do this, that, and the other over eating food. So, how do you get them to eat? And how do you know that they are actually, how do you, I mean, it's just a balance, because you have to make sure they're eating enough, but you don't want to push them to eat too much. Well, Sean, Rick, that says a lot about you, my friend. There you go. And Rick says he's poor and eats anything on his plate that doesn't run away. There's that. And Brian says, you said it, they don't shop. So, well, but again, when you give a kid a car, where are they going to go? They're going to go to the gas station. They're going to get sodas. They're going to get chips. They're going to get that out of vending machines from school. They're going to get whatever's easy, fast, convenient. They're going to go drive through. Hopefully we can set our kids up to make better choices, but you can set your kids up all day long to make the best choices. But if none of the choices they have to make are good, how do they make good choices out of no good choices? That's the question here. It's easy to just spout out things and say, this, that, and the other. But if we don't set our kids up for success, they're automatically going to fail. And how do we fix that? What is there to do to fix this? It's easy to say it starts at home. Don't let them do this. But again, if every choice they can make when they are on their own is a bad choice, what are we going to do? Mr. Gougahan has 6 scrambled eggs, 2 slices of thick-cut applewood smoked bacon, and, of course, coffee. That's not a lot of bacon. That's not enough bacon. I don't think I've ever just eaten 2 slices of bacon unless that's all I had was just 2 slices of bacon. Sharon says, coffee has a good aroma, but the flavor has missed the mark for me. And it is an acquired taste. Now I just love it. Oh my goodness, coffee is the best. Friday, I actually messed up and didn't have coffee all day Friday. Oh no, it was sad. It was terrible. Holly Springer's here. Good morning, Holly. Good to see you. Stacy is here. She says, good morning. Lab results in. My thyroid is improving. I am in great metabolic health per Dr. Cybus. This is why I stick to animal-based keto. Healthy feels better than eating the poisons. Yep. And Shannon and I were talking about this the other day. Like, they say that nothing tastes better than healthy feels, but addiction is a mother trucker. I'll tell you that. Because sometimes you can have the best motivation and the food still wins. Their dumps are different than ours. So he says, I camp outside the dump and pick up from people in line. Oh, my goodness. Terry Girl is here. Good morning, Terry. Glad to see you, my dear. And Rick says, if I had a baby, I'd use cloth diapers. Well, good on you. Good for you. We don't. I would be nice, I guess, if we did, but we don't. Evelyn is saying that she's having hotel eggs and sausage, keto chow cookies, and electrolytes for breakfast. No coffee today. No coffee today. No. Now, people are asking, where are you, Evelyn? Where are you? You're at a hotel. Why are you at a hotel? What's happening? They're staying at a Drury Inn. Yeah, 100%. Evelyn, we're going to need proof of life from Carl if you're not drinking coffee. True. Butterbob makes your pants fall off. Indeed, it happens. It happens to lots of people. People fall back into old habits, unfortunately. But having a good structure, a good community to fall back on is so very valuable. And I will preach and talk about this until the end of my days. And then my videos will still be here until the end of those days, talking about how invaluable and important, paramount all this community is for all of us. Evelyn says, I can't drink gut rot hotel coffee in that respect. I'm a coffee snob, but just so it doesn't cause kidney trouble. Oh, yeah. Carl is here. She gets gut rot on cheap coffee, so I prefer she doesn't drink it when we travel. I offered to bring our pour over kit, but she said she would drink caffeinated electrolytes. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, I have some grape salty right here. I'm a little thirsty, a little parched. Love grape salty. So good. It's the best. And Sharon makes pizza guts for dinner, hits a craving, no crust. Evelyn is drinking hot caramel vibes, salty. Cindy says, I made pizza last night using Victor's new crust recipe. How is it? What'd you think? Yeah, a lot of it. Like our granddaughter loves fruit. She loves strawberries and oranges and blueberries and apples. And Sean says, Carl, I'm glad to see you're alive and well. Caffeinated electrolytes for the win. Yes, yes, yes. Brian says, but if we get millions shift, we won't be able to buy meat and other. Well, I mean, the thing is, yeah, that's the thing is like if everybody went carnivore tomorrow, we wouldn't have enough meat for everybody to eat. But that's not going to stop us from trying to get people to eat more meat, right? If more people ate meat, if we got all 350 million people in the United States to eat a pound of meat a day, that's 350 million pounds of meat. That's a big market. That's a lot of money. I bet you they'd start producing more cattle. Yeah, and I mean, and again, Aaron says it all starts at home. That's what we tried with our granddaughter. Where first food she ever had was steak and eggs. She loved bacon, and she would just sit and eat little pads of butter. But again, if the parents do not understand this, how do we fix that? And Sean says, which reminds me, we need to talk to the Bears about making caffeinated caramel vibes. I would say, and Coco Loco. That would be the cleanest coffee we could ever drink. Yeah. I imagine, I mean, they don't drink coffee, but I imagine if they could come up with a coffee flavored electrolyte, like a mocha or something like that. But just, I like coffee flavored coffee, okay? Just coffee, cream, and some butter. And Aaron says, every once in a while they request a specific crazy yellow rice, but usually I just make them whatever meat I'm eating, some other protein, cottage cheese. They can have frozen blueberries. Yeah, that's like when we went keto in this house, we took everything out of the house. The kids, our boys, were absolutely like mutinous. They did not like it. They didn't understand. Where's our mac and cheese? Where's our ramen noodles? Where's our frozen pizza? all these things that we had eaten for so long. We would buy them carrots. They had back, they'd have pop. They could pop some popcorn, that kind of stuff. And when they then were able to go out on their own, they can make their own choices. Like our oldest boy went to college and spent all of his money on Jimmy John sandwiches. Spent thousands of dollars on Jimmy John sandwiches. He ate it like 3 times a day. We tried to make him have better choices, but he didn't make better choices. We talked like, he could go and eat at the cafeteria, and he would complain that he couldn't afford it. It was like the burgers were too expensive to get burger patties. And I'm like, I can almost guarantee you that's not the case. He made excuses, didn't want to do it. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Sharon says caffeine pills. Oh my goodness. Booby says we've been eating a lot of chicken lately too. I think the only reason I was able to do the challenge and win burgers for us, chicken thighs at Walmart, $1.77 a pound, and we buy and go through pounds and pounds and pounds of that stuff because it's most affordable. Is chicken the best? No, but I can't afford to buy that much burger and steak and all that stuff. We have intermittently, but most of what we eat is chicken because it's cheap. Right now is a terrible time to try to be somebody who eats only meat. Brian says, without big business and government to accept it will not happen. Most people, follow, what they're told. I mean, then that's exactly what happened. Our doctors tell you, oh, your cholesterol's high. You got to be on this pill. Cholesterol's high. You got to eat this. Cholesterol's high. You got to do that. And how do we then? I mean, we're stuck in a situation now where doctors are paid for by big pharma, by big food. You can't get a decent meal in a hospital that's actually healthy for you. Doctors don't know to tell you. Doctors are going to tell you to avoid meat, avoid eggs, all these things. And we're just in such a, how do we do that? Right. I mean, what do we do? And Brian says, ask Aaron when kids become teenagers. I have had teenagers. Our oldest daughter is 27. Our boy is 26 and our youngest is 21. So we've been through the teenager rebellious phase. They just do whatever they want because even the 7-year-old knows more than I do, right? The 7-year-old knows better than I do. They all know better than we do, right? They all think they know better than us. Like one day, the granddaughter, she got some new boots. She was new boot goofing, okay? And she put her boots on. I'm like, you're not going to wear socks? Pa, I don't need to wear socks. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. You're going to regret that. She goes to school. I pick her up. She goes, Paul, you were right. I should have wore socks. I mean, that's what it is. Sean says, Sharon, I used to live on no-dose when I was in the Navy. I think I ruined my body for caffeine because my heart would pound out of my chest whenever I had caffeine. Thank goodness for keto. Yeah. And Aaron says, I don't think you can put a battery in. We're just going to get another one. Yeah. Good luck. Walmart seems to have tons and tons of those Chromebooks. Seems like Chromebooks are more prevalent than laptops right now. Sharon says, when I was working shifts, I had to stop caffeine. I wasn't sleeping during the day and made very long 12-hour nights. Oh my goodness. Steadfast is here. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Aaron says, a kid with food in the house will never starve. They eat when they want to. My children don't even like breakfast. They aren't hungry until 11. Yeah. Try to make sure the granddaughter has something in her belly going to school. Try to make sure she has some protein in there so she's not grumpy. Then pack her lunch full of stuff with protein. And, oftentimes she barely eats her breakfast, comes home with a full lunchbox because she's a chatty Cathy. So we do what we can. We do what we can do the best we can. Just try to make sure she eats. Aaron says, I remember when schools had vending machines with the good soda. It's pretty cool. The high school here, where the vending machines that just had water in it. Yeah, I know, like, they would just do the thing, like, they would say, oh, well, we got a da-da-da-da-da. Then, like, they would just chips and candy bars and all that stuff, in the 90s. Yeah, the Powerade and high sugar juices, yeah. Sean says, on the weekends, my kids would not even be conscious until noon. Sleeping until noon, I don't understand why people made it like, that's great. I mean, granted, I worked nights for a very, very long time. So, like, and from my late teens into my late 20s, I was working nights. So, like, a 10-year span, I worked at nights. I didn't go to work till 4 in the afternoon. Didn't get home till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And that's like, that acclimation is so hard to come back from it. And I even worked day shift longer than I ever worked nights. And it's still like, I would rather be up all night and sleep all day. That's just, my body's wired. I would rather be up all night and sleep all day. That's just the way my body's wired. I would rather be up all night and sleep all day. Cindy said our vending machines didn't have vending machines, Aaron. I mean, the dinosaurs would have broke into them anyway. Aaron says, I wonder if the schools get the contract like Coca-Cola, for instance, and they receive a certain amount of money for having vending machines in the schools. I don't remember. So, like, in our lunch lines, we didn't have like Coca-Cola necessarily. We didn't have carbonated beverages, but we had like fruit punch, like Faygo fruit punch. I think it was Faygo fruit punch, but it wasn't carbonated. They didn't have carbonation, but it was the same sugary juices, like same sugary, that kind of stuff in it. So, like, I mean, we had chips and we had all the sugary drinks. They may not have been caffeinated or carbonated, but they were still soda. I mean, let's be real. And Sharon says, my son's school was under contract and they got funds to do the sales, but the school limited to only after school for the kids to buy anything. And they try to do that. The vending machines were only on and open after school. So, like, when we were doing like driver's ed or you were after school for an activity, you couldn't necessarily use the vending machines during school hours. I mean, they were backed by the gyms anyway, so they were really there for like after school stuff. But there was plenty, like, you could get Doritos every day in the lunch line. There was pizza or French fries or whatever every single day. So there was no shortage of terrible options, whether it was a vending machine or not. And Holly says, have you ever read the book Sugar, Fat, Salt? As long as food companies are allowed to make their food so addictive, I don't know what can be done to fight that. I think it's not even just the addictiveness. It's the only thing available. I mean, when you go, like, if you're at the grocery store, the checkout lines, like, the only thing you can find that's halfway even sort of somewhat decent is like the turkey stick bites. We'll get those sometimes. They're like $4 a bag, though. I mean, it's either that or Snickers or Reese's or Lay's potato chips or whatever, or you can get the turkey bites, the turkey meat bites, or the high sugar jerky, because even jerky's high sugar. There's nothing good about jerky unless you get the low sugar jerky. But even then, the no sugar added jerky is pineapple powder or pineapple juice because they can't, like, basically, like, the those companies have decided they're not going to use artificial sweeteners. Sean said my high school had cigarette vending machines. Guess they did make some health improvements. Yeah. Yeah, I remember like, at least in elementary school, you couldn't get ice cream unless you cleaned your plate. Like, you could, if you didn't eat everything on your tray, you couldn't get ice cream. My mom would send me a quarter and get ice cream bar or something. Um, or like in my lunchbox, sometimes she would tape a quarter to the inside of the lunchbox. So then, like, if I ate my sandwich and my chips in my juice box, I can go get some ice cream or whatever. But the teacher had to look and make sure you ate all your food before you were allowed to go and get your ice cream. But then, like, middle school and high school, you just got whatever you wanted when you got your food. So you just got a whole tray of whatever you wanted. So you could get a lunch tray in middle school. Middle school, it was pretty good. Like, you just got the lunch tray. There was no real extras. You can get an extra milk, extra slice of pizza on pizza day. But that was really about all you could do. You can get 2 milks, you can get 2 slices of pizza or something like that. But yeah. Aaron says our cafeteria was the gym. Wow. My high school, we had the cafeteria, and then we had like 3 gyms. We had like a running track. We had like a full like Olympic sized swimming pool. I mean, we had our own an arts center, like it was like a venue, like a whole like auditorium thing. I mean, I went to Pike High School, so that was a big, 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 big high school. I mean, I don't know. I think they would rather make profits. I don't really think health comes into it. I mean, I know, like, I'm sure it does in some degree, but like eventually there's going to be diminishing returns because if people just aren't able to do anything and we're all just like, bleh, then I mean, what do we get out of that? And Aaron says we had to wait in line, saw the line through, basically walk into a closet, and they would hand us your lunch. Our cafeteria served a square pizza. It was burnt on the edges, frozen in the middle. Now that's talent. How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know. Aaron has 5 teen. Well, that's what happens when you have 10 children. You end up with a lot of teenagers. That's, I mean, we can't blame anybody but you, Aaron. It's a lot of teenagers. Woo! Let's hope Aaron doesn't look like this. She still looks like she's about 14. Sonny's here. Good morning, Sonny. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Woo! Oh my goodness. Jackie says, I survived high school on Mountain Dew and paydays bought through this at the school store. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember them having soda. I know we had the fruit punch. I drank fruit punch like every single day, and I get like a chicken sandwich and fruit punch and maybe some Doritos. I mean, if you're left to your own devices, you're gonna pick the worst stuff. Cindy says, I did not go to middle school either. Elementary went from 2nd to 8th and then on to high school. Oh well. Okay. Aaron says for high school it was only 20 cents for Little Debbie zebra cakes, and they offered Arizona iced teas at the school store back when Arizona iced teas were cool in the glass bottles. Arizona teas are still, I think, like, They come up with some cool flavors, but they don't have enough of the sugar-free ones. Like the only sugar-free one really you can get is the diet green tea, but it's still got some honey in it. So it's not really sugar-free. It's just low, extremely low sugar. I think it's like 2 grams of carbs per however many, like per serving or whatever. Crazy. Jackie says, my 26-year-old wakes up at 5 p.m. on the weekend. Wish that kid would move back home for a spell. Mr. Gugahan is off to church. Have a great day. Well, thank you for being here with us, Mr. Gugahan. I hope you have a great rest of your day, my friend. Steadfast says, apparently having a rigid wake-up time is far more important than a fluid bedtime for a circadian rhythm. I understand the difficulty from shift work, and it takes a long recommended habit build. Yeah, I mean, just the idea that I work day shift for a long time too. I work day shift longer than I work night shift, and I still get up early every day now because I'm going to take the girl to school. I got to get up, but I mean, our hours of going to bed are crazy because our day doesn't end and start. We just do and go and go and go till stuff's done. So, you know. Yeah, it's like, instead of just making it savory, they've got to add some sweetness to it. So I understand why they do it the way they do. But it's the reason why, like, pork and good pork rinds, um, does they have sugar in there? They won't make a sugar free. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible. Like whenever you get home from doing something, it's hard to just to come home right and jump right into bed, no matter how tired you are. Like sometimes I get to come home, shower, maybe just kind of like you got to have like a wind down routine. I mean, even still, like you come home, you can't just usually jump right into bed. You got to like do some dishes. You got to throw a load the laundry. You can't just typically to jump right into bed. There's always something to do. Steadfast is saying, yeah, I never personally worked overnights, but I was a night owl and have been working hard on sleep hygiene for 2 years and still can't get above a 70 sleep score. Oh, yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence on how I believe if they're really trying to lower the population. Because that doesn't make sense. Because I mean, I know that everyone still thinks that we're overpopulated, but not in the grand scheme of things. I don't really truly think we are, but I honestly, I don't know. It's easy for us to look at what they're doing and kind of just jump to conclusions. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if that's really what they're wanting to do. I know he wants control over that us not eating meat for whatever reason because he doesn't eat meat allegedly. Sean says he went to an all-male Catholic high school. We were pretty disgusting. We would chug Cokes as fast as we could just to see who could get the better burp. I had one that was over 20 seconds. I love it. Elf had nothing on us. Well, I mean, if you could chug a 2 liter, then that would be pretty impressive. Like your body, you would just explode if you did that. Lisa is here. Good morning, dear. Slept in a little. What have I missed? We've been just hanging out, chilling, talking about important stuff. Have a great day, Miss Booby Goats. Have a good day. Good luck on acquiring a new Chromebook. Oh. Sean can say the alphabet. I love it. Risa is here. Good morning, Risa. Oh, he doesn't eat animal. Yeah, that's some kind of stuff that drives me insane. We jump to these conclusions and like we say some of the craziest stuff, and it's like, okay, how do we get to the bottom of the real issues if we don't like? Is it possible that some of that stuff is happening? I'm not going to say it out loud, but is it possible that some of that may happen? Sure, I'm sure it does. But on the same token, how do we get more people to again get on board with changing things if we sound crazy? And there's no way to say that and be, even if it's true, without sounding crazy. And they know that. That's like the idea that meat is good for us sounds crazy to a lot of people. What do you mean meat's healthy? Meat's going to give you a heart attack. Yeah. It's just we've got a gigantic hole to dig out of. And how do we do that? By being compassionate, understanding, and taking our time, having open and meaningful conversations that aren't judgmental. I mean, we've got a lot of headway. We've got a lot of work to do here. A lot of people don't believe what we have to say. You can't force people to believe you. Just have to be intentional, compassionate, patient. These are all very important things that we have to understand. It's taken 200 plus years to get where we are. We're not going to fix it in 10 days. It's just like you didn't gain 400 pounds and become 400 pounds overweight in 2 weeks. You're not going to lose the weight in 2 weeks. You're not going to lose the weight in 6 months. Is it possible to gain that kind of weight in 6 months? I guess it's possible. Gormy did it. Gormy gained all of his weight back in like 6 months to a year. He's lost and gained 600 pounds, 400 pounds twice. So we have to make sure that we are being intentional, patient, understanding, because there's a million people out there who, again, have no idea that they have the ability to make meaningful changes in their own lives. We've got kids who aren't going to realize that they're in trouble for 10, 15, 20 years. You know? Let's take a look and see. One thing I did want to kind of talk about was the idea that some of these eggs that are promoted in the grocery stores, like Vital Farms, there's a controversy around these eggs, right? Let me know in the comments if you've heard about this yet. So Vital Farms is facing intense scrutiny in early 2026 over allegations that its pasture-raised eggs are produced using grain-fed industrial-style methods, contradicting marketing that fetches premium prices. So let me show you what I'm talking about when I talk about Vital Farms here. I'll bring up so you can see what they look like. I'm sure you've seen what these eggs look like here. So this is what Vital Farms looks like here. All right. So this is what the eggs look like. So just in case you're curious about that. But the Vital Farms is basically what they're saying is that these are supposed to have 100 and so many square feet per chicken, and that they are eating a good, solid, healthy meat. So the controversy again is social media claims suggest Vital Farms are no better than cheaper conventional eggs due to diet of corn and soy rather than pasture foraging. Nutritional claims tests indicated high omega-6 levels, which with critics claiming these are a result of subsidized feed, corn, soy, rather than a natural diet. So they're having much higher linoleic acid or omega-6 levels than they're supposed to. Transparency claims while Vital Farm states it has hens have access to 108 square feet of pasture each, critics suggest that due to their scale, most chickens stay inside large, crowded barns. And alleged greenwashing, the controversy highlights the difference between pasture-raised imagery and the reality of the company scaling up and they're a publicly traded company. So they had an IPO and they raised like $125 million or whatever when this IPO. And they have like BlackRock is an investor in them and all kinds of stuff, right? So the company response, Vital Farms has maintained that their hens are raised ethically and that they are transparent about their practices. But I mean, they're eating corn and soy and they have much higher linoleic acid than they should. Now, does that make these eggs unhealthy? On the grand scheme of things, no. But what is happening? These are selling for $7 a dozen when they really have. And one of the other controversies is the fact that they are utilizing something to do. They're utilizing putting stuff in their feed to make the yolks extra yellow. Because when you crack open that farm fresh egg and you see that super yellow yolk, you're like, oh yeah, these are the good eggs. But they're utilizing like turmeric and something else in the feed to give the yolks an extra boost of color. So yeah, they are, yeah. And that's the vegan chicken. Like chickens aren't vegan. They're supposed to eat bugs and they'll eat little mice and they'll eat anything that comes in front of them, worms, whatever. They'll eat whatever comes in front of them. If they were big enough and we were small enough, they would eat us too. But I digress. Yeah. Trudy Moorhart says, yeah, now I have my own chickens. Yeah. And Risa hasn't heard about the egg controversy. Yeah, and I don't think any large company is going to tell us the truth. They just aren't. I think I've seen them at Walmart. I've seen them at like Fresh Time. You see them at Kroger. I'm thinking just about every grocery store sells them now. Stacy's going to be selling quail eggs in Elkhart on March the 2nd. So make sure to reach out to her if you are going to want some of those. I don't think she's going to have regular eggs because I would be ordering a bunch of those, but I don't think she's going to have any. But hopefully, maybe let us know. Let us know, Stacy. Yeah, vegan chickens, produced and raised. Oh, I'm like not. Yeah. Ugh. What, BlackRock bought Sweetwater? I mean, that's crazy. North Dakota Carnivore Lance is in the house. Good morning, my friend. How are you? Now, do I think chicken should eat chicken? No, that's how we get mad cow disease. When animals eat themselves or eat the brains of themselves, that's a big problem. Probably shouldn't be doing that. Risa says I got Vital Farms for half price last week. I mean, are they still eggs? Yes. Are eggs still some of the best food you can eat? Yes. That being said, if a company is marketing themselves as such, then it's going to be an issue if they're not giving you what you're paying for. Again, this is kind of what happened with Element. When I made my videos about Element about a year ago, 2 years ago, or whatever it was now. I made that video back in like 2023 about Element, because what Element was telling us that each packet had 4 milligrams of maltodextrin per packet, which is about a tablespoon or a teaspoon. I think it's a teaspoon over 1,000 packets. So it was such a small amount that it wasn't something to worry about. But the truth came out that it was closer to anywhere from 250 to 550 milligrams per. So instead of being 1,000 packets per teaspoon, it was closer to like 10. It's like an order of magnitude more. So yeah, that was the issue, is because they had released a newsletter or a blog post about it, but they had buried it in, and you weren't even able really to find it scrolling through their website. You had to do an actual outside search to find that article. So that's what caused me to make the video. It was not necessarily that they had half a gram of maltodextrin in a packet, because I mean, realistically, a half a gram isn't going to cause that much issue. I mean, is that something you'd probably want to avoid? Sure. If you could find a cleaner one, sure, do it. Like salty, no maltodextrin. Perfect. But it wasn't the amount that was really the problem. It was the fact that we were misled, and they were saying there was an order of magnitude less than there really was. Instead of 4 milligrams, it was 400 milligrams on average. That's crazy talk. So that's what it is, you know? Yeah, chickens would eat us too. No tourist. Yeah, I mean, most animals, our cats would eat us if they were bigger. If our cats were the size of lions, they would eat us. Well, I mean, I think a lot of times, like something like an umbrella company owned by BlackRock owns 75% stake, and Chuck owns 25%. So, I mean, realistically, I think a lot of companies are taking, like this whole, this whole approach, because it saves them, but then again, then you have less say about your own company, and all things change. Brian says that's why I believe in supporting your local farmers and doing your own hunting and for clean food, going to the big chain stores and throwing the dice. I mean, I that's the thing, is like I think those who can probably should, but the average person can't. So it's just, yeah. I mean, it's going to take us time. And Stacy says our chickens aren't laying yet, but we will check with 2 friends. If you want farm fresh chicken eggs, let me know too. Yeah, I always want farm fresh eggs, Stacy. So if you have access, let me know what you'll charge for them per dozen, and then I'll decide how many that I can afford to buy from you and have you bring with you. Because I mean, usually I get about 10 dozen from you. So let me know what's going on. We'll make it happen, Captain. Yeah, how much are you going to sell them for? I was at Rural King looking for chicks yesterday. And John Together Strong is in the house. Good morning, John. And Stacey says we give our chickens all the bones and meat trimmings, and they love. Yeah. Well, I mean, and typically it's not so much just, it's right now it's Vital Farms. Vital Farms is the issue, just for the fact that Vital Farms says that they are pasture raised, that they organic and all that stuff, and they're eating what chickens are supposed to eat, but they're still getting primarily corn and soy, which causes the linoleic acid content of the eggs to go up where they shouldn't be. So, but they're also then adding stuff to the food to make their yolks look more pasture raised. So there's just some shady business going on. But then they're copping out. Well, we say that's what they eat in these little drop down things that you look at their website. Who's doing that? Nobody. Unless you're digging in to get a gotcha moment, which is kind of what's happened here. Yeah, I mean, and again, that's always going to be like if you personally can't tolerate something, then obviously you are on the lookout and you are more diligent with what you take in your body. The thing is we have to look at what's going to be like, we look at what, it comes down to like N equals 1, right? What impacts you? But the greater, like the average person probably isn't going to be impacted by some of this stuff. They're not going to care. Like the average person doesn't care at all that there's issues with eggs at the grocery store. They just care about the price. Which ones are the cheapest? I have a family to feed. I can't afford we paid $5-6 a dozen at one point. We were going to Walmart, was selling Walmart branded eggs for $30 for 5 dozen. Beginning of the pandemic, they were $3.12. Went from $3.12 to over $30 for 5 dozen. That's insane. Yeah, price drives a lot of our decisions. I mean, really, that's what it like. If we can't afford it, we can't eat it. Tell him to get better. Tell Brian to get better. Tell Mr. Guinea Pig to get better. He's sick. His bedhead cold, getting over a broken rib. I hope you're taking care of him, Cindy. I hope you're being good to him and not mean to him like you are to me. Okay? I'm sure you're taking good care of him. Sharon's going to get going. Have a great day, all. Well, thank you so much for being here, Sharon. We really, really appreciate you. Yeah, ouch. It's a bad combo. Coughing and with a broken rib? No thanks. Reese says, my right ribs are starting to feel better. Hope Brian feels better soon. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Lisa's got to get ready for church. Unlike me, he is good to you. I am the best to you, Cindy. Okay? I'm the greatest good you ever going to get. I'm so nice to you, Cindy. I'm like your best friend. Come on now. Get out of here with that noise. Oh my goodness, coffee's so delicious. I mean, trying to figure out like what can we actually, what could actually be done? Like, what are some practical tips to change behavior and change? I mean, really, it's a multifaceted approach. It has to be, but we have to have a lot of reach, and it's going to take a lot of time because we got to model behavior instead of lecturing. We can't, because kids do not really take to lecturing. They don't care. They're not going to listen. You got to find a way to make it think like it's their idea, right? Obviously at home we can control things, but again, at home, the parent has to understand what they're bringing in the house versus what they should or shouldn't have. And, you obviously should be prioritizing protein, but again, protein is demonized unless it's in powder form, it's a protein packed lunch and it's got some peanuts in it and 4 grams of protein. Ooh. I think we've just got labeling as bad. So, it's hard to understand what you're really getting. We just talked about that with Vital Farms. Avoid food labeling good or bad, focus on energy and performance. I mean, that's a thing that I think we really should be looking at, and how to get more stuff across to people in our community. How do we get more people here, instead of like the idea that certain foods are good and certain foods are poison, regardless of what your actual overall opinion is. That sentiment doesn't bring people on board. It makes us sound crazy. The people who are like, what do you mean broccoli's poison? What do you mean that this is this? What do you mean? That they're gonna just tune out. So that's where words are so very important. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully we can get teens to understand what stable energy feels like. Why are they so tired in the morning? You know what I mean? I know their hormones are going quackadoo, you know what I mean? They're going through puberty, whatever, but help them experiment with removing soda for 30 days. But what are they replacing it? What do they have instead? What are some good options they have access to? The access is the problem here. Education and access are going to work against each other, because you can educate, but if they don't have access to the things you're educating them about, what are they going to do about it? Again, we're dealing with teenagers here, especially ones that are finally starting to step out on their own, and we hope that they're going to make good choices. But if we don't offer them the choices to be made, what are they supposed to do? So I mean, we can educate, we can encourage, we can do all these things, we can live by example. But if when they finally step out on their own and they don't have adequate choices that they can actually make, because their choice is McDonald's or Wendy's or the vending machine or what the school deems to be appropriate and healthy, how are they going to stand a fight? How are they going to have a fighting chance? So, I mean, in schools and community, we have to be more involved, push for real food options, reduce ultra processed snack culture, advocate for metabolic education. But again, even still, we're still battling an uphill battle, because we're battling decades of entrenched bad information. Key messages here is we can't shame youth into health, because they're not going to listen. We can't scare them into compliance, because they don't care, because they're invincible. They don't care. Because how they feel fine today, it doesn't matter what 10 years brings, because that doesn't mean anything to them. And you can't medicate your way out of a food culture problem, but we're sure trying. We have to educate, we have to model, we have to guide, and we have to create curiosity. Curiosity, I think, is the biggest piece here. And, yeah, Sean's right. Kids feel like they are invincible. They don't realize what they are doing now will impact them later. It's a whole living in the now. I mean, that's how I was until I was in my 30s and realized I was 400 pounds. And we've talked about this. I knew I was big. I was buying 5X clothes, 50-inch pants. I knew what was going on. But how do we turn this? This is like a cruise ship in a bathtub. How do we turn it around? It's like that cart in the hallway in what's the movie with like Gold Member and all that stuff with Mike Myers? Yeah, baby, yeah, whatever it was. Anyway, there's that movie where they're like trying to turn that cart around in the hallway, and he gets stuck where he couldn't. Yeah, that's like we're trying to do that, right? Cindy's asking how my coaching class is doing. They end this week. I've got to get my case study finished, turn that in, and then once that comes back in, then I can take my test and we'll be good to go. I can't say that I'm not terrified. It's been a long time since I've taken a big old test like that, but and I still feel like there's been so much minutia information that takes practice to absorb. So there's so much information and so much goes into being a health coach that I am thankful that we are going to have access going forward to all this information, because I kind of feel like you can learn 20% of it, but in practice, you're going to pick up the rest of it. But I was like, because there's no basis of comparison to throw it all together. So That's kind of how I see it, without being able to do it and be, it's like, you can learn how to do it. You can go through a training class on how to learn a job, but then until you do that job, you don't truly understand it. So yeah, Austin Powers. I was gonna say this, the Spy Who Shagged Me, the first one is what I was talking about. But yeah. And Risa says I was the same way probably till about 10 years ago. Didn't care what I put in my mouth. As long as my stomach was full, I had to try every new food item that came out, newest Mickey D's or Wendy's. Not now. Yeah, I don't do that stuff now. I'm more I'm more apt to try old things that I want to come back. That's the hard part for me. But I mean, I do, you know, but that's kind of where I'm at. But you know, uh, but I think today we're about at 90 minutes into this. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for today. As I said, be understanding that Tuesday will either be shifted to later in the afternoon or moved to Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what we've got going on. So be on the lookout for when that comes out, as we do have a wake to go to for a family funeral. Somebody who was who passed. They were in their 80s and they passed of cancer, and so they'll be missed. But yeah, we've got to go and celebrate their life and all that. But I mean, what do we do? So, I mean, if we care about the next generation, which we do, because without them, what are we? Who are we without the next generation? So, I mean, we can't sit silently while metabolic diseases become normal, right? At 16, 15, we're seeing all these things, seeing kids 8 years old diabetic. That's ridiculous. Type 2 diabetics at 10. You also can't turn into you can't really turn this into fear-based messaging either, because kids don't need more shame. They need leadership. They need good examples. They need good choices. Right now, they have zero good choices. They need us, the adults, who are willing to say, there's another way. But we can't be overly dramatic about it either. We have to understand how important it is, how paramount, how dire the situation is, without really putting that on them. Because that's not going to help. We know the standard American diet didn't happen overnight, and the solutions won't either. Everything's battling against us. It truly is. Every company is battling for profits. The government, pharma, everything is, the doctor, all the medical, everything is really stacked. The deck is stacked against us. How do we move forward? What is the solution? Every family that shifts towards real food is a plus. Every teen who learns what stable energy feels like is a plus. But even kids who are in excellent shape, the athletes, they're still carbing up before games, and they're still doing that. They're still being beat over the head with eat less, move more, watch your calories, watch your fat intake, eat some protein, eat some lean protein, but get your carbohydrates. How do we fix this? It's going to take a long time. We're going to do little ripples at a time. We don't need perfection. We need awareness. We need courage. And we need to have real, honest conversations. Not just about weight, because weight's part of the issue, but we know weight isn't the only issue. Weight is a symptom of the underlying metabolic health. And how do we up that? And how do we help our kids with resilience and long-term vitality? Our youth deserve better than normalization of sickness. And they're inheriting all of it. The kids are my grandkids now. My youngest grandkid will be 121, 25. If they even have the opportunity to even live that long. How do we the only thing I can think of is a slow chip away that we're trying to do. We have to continue to do these talks. Hopefully we get more and more people in. We have a couple of younger folks in our group here that come in, but I haven't seen them in a while. I don't know how they're doing. Hopefully they're doing okay. But I just want to say, you being here is huge. We're living by example the best way we can with our own kids, our stepkids, our grandkids, our neighbors, our nieces, our nephews, our cousins, all of these things. We have to lead the best way we can. And when they ask us our questions, when they ask us questions about our lifestyle, when they pick on us about our lifestyle, when they don't understand our lifestyle, we can't snap at them. We can't be mean. We have to just say, this is huge. This is something that's going to impact our youth if we don't fix it. But with that, everybody have a great day. Exposing Darkness showed up. Steph is here. Bride's Biscuit finally showed up. Welcome. Julie Powell's finally here. Welcome. Kevin Harrington. All of you wonderful people are coming in. And that's where I'll leave this today. Just we have to understand that our youth deserve better than this normalization, that sickness is just a part of life, that we have to just get sick, fat, go on medicine, have surgery, and that's going to be the only way. Hopefully we can turn this around. Hopefully we can fix our broken food supply, our broken food system, give them real meaningful choices. We have to do it with love, understanding. We have to be mindful and intent. Do it with intent. We have to do it. This is something we can't just ignore. But with that, thank you all so very much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. Even if you just stopped in for a minute, if you listened and didn't comment, thank you all so very much. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Here are the credits. I need to update those, but with love, here they go.